a lot of what I do with my clients, at least, is I make them either weekly or bi-weekly have reflection. So it's a chance to be like, okay, what was something that we set out to do? It was X. Now we're going to revise it. How consistent were you with it? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, do we think that we need to revise it, either improve on it or create something more because you achieved it? And then something I think that people really forget to do is we're like, the sun is shining and it's rainbows and butterflies and life is perfect, but it's not. So it's about anticipating challenges and obstacles that are going to come up and having a plan of action. So it's like
traveling or something.
Yeah, it could be travel. It could just be like, well, I have a kid and like their schedule is a little bit crazy. So like, what do I have control over? And if X happens, what's my strategy? Like, what am I going to do to still make me feel successful, but understand that like, it's not me failing my goal of doing this. It's just, I've now pivoted in a really smart way.
Have you got an example?
I can think of a couple. So I can think of, some of the people that I'm taking through with their sleep stuff right now for our accountability program. And one of them, their work is just crazy right now. And a lot of the habits that they had built leading into this were really good. And as soon as work happened this way, they felt like they were kind of like slipping back on their coaching app and they felt like a little bit overwhelmed by everything. So it was just like, okay, take a breath. Let's think about it. Let's reflect on the stuff that we've set before. And what is now, and it's that dial sort of scenario, what's that number one for you? Like, what is the bare minimum you can do? And for them, it was like, okay, well, I can catch up on my daily lessons later. Like I can do that on a Sunday when I have more time and I want to do that. But maybe all I'm doing for now is just marking off on my habit tracker. Just one of the things that I think is the most important. And that's what they focus on.
Nice.
So it's the minimum effective dose, right? So it's essentially with that dial, which is something I only learned that dial from you maybe a couple of months ago when you presented it. And it's it just makes sense. It's like you don't have to be all or nothing or 100%. It's like find your bare minimum or your minimum effective dose. Okay, tick that off. You still move that needle forward. Right?
Exactly.
And massive side tangent on that though is that so many people label themselves as all or nothing people.
It's true.
And that becomes a crutch in so many ways, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't do it if I'm not all in on it. So I think that is a really important conversation, especially for those type A. I don't even know if it's type A people, but those people who do feel like they can't have that dial.
Well, the huge thing about all of it is if you want to change, you have to encompass or you have to take on a growth mindset. And that means approaching things with a beginner's mind, just being like, I'm just going to pretend right now that I don't know what I think I know. And I'm just going to go into it with an open mind and I'm going to give it a try. You eventually break down people that are like that. But I also think that we've spoken about it a little bit before, I think it's like the concept of like, you actually build resilience through self-compassion and self-efficacy. I'm pretty sure they say like the negative feedback loop that you have in your head, once you start to beat yourself up about something, becomes a repetitive cycle. It's actually dopamine that does get released in that whole process, which is like, you have this negative narrative that just never ends. So we're trying to break the cycle. We're trying to create positivity through the things that we're doing. So we need to draw on experiences and highlight the small wins and start really small and do all the things that we're saying in order to do that.